Hello and welcome to the Semi Toxic Podcast. There's worse things out there for you. My name is Kai.
I'm Dead Slayer.
And I'm Marigold.
We wrote topics, and the host, that's me today, will pick them using a random number generator. Today we'll be talking about oddities of the insert popular IP here universe. All right.
Ooh, I
IP
love
address?
insert popular IP here.
So basically, what we're gonna do is this is gonna be your chance to dunk on like something like a popular universe, something like that. You think that
Oh,
there's
like
something
all
weird
the
about,
fridge logic.
huh?
What?
Fridge logic. When you're watching something and you don't really think about it, but like after you're done watching it, you think you're at the fridge or something and you're like, "Hey, wait a second, that didn't make any sense."
Yeah, exactly. Something that they never address either. Like why? Like the example I have right here that maybe we can start off with is the Pokemon universe. I brought this up because we were talking about in a last episode in one of our other episodes where it was like, why is there a whole route? Why is there a whole route or it's
Is there a
just
difference?
yeah, route is very American. Route is what everyone else in the world calls it.
Oh, gotcha. I get it.
Route.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
American.
yeah. I'm American. So the route. Why is one whole route just downhill and only bikes are allowed on? And why can you
They want to
only
kill off
why
anyone dumb enough to go down.
like why yeah why do people just stand in the grass all day waiting to fight someone that may or may not come? You know
They're
why?
just enjoying the sunshine, and then they see you, a wandering trainer, coming by. It's like, oh, hey, I was bored. I was just enjoying myself. Maybe this guy would like to play with me. And you're being all judgmental.
Why is it okay to eat some Pokemon?
Well, why is it okay for us to eat some animals?
Because the animals can't talk back.
Technically, neither can a Magikarp.
It can. If you understand Magikarp, when it goes Magikarp, carp, Magikarp, carp, it means the sun is out. It's very shiny. And Magikarp, carp, carp, carpy carp, Magikarp means please don't eat me. I'm a Magikarp.
Squeak, squeaker,
Well,
squeaker.
I can't understand Magikarp, so like sucks at the end.
I don't understand.
I mean, who's to say that fucking dogs and cats aren't the same? Because they do have a language. They communicate.
Through body language.
It's like yeah, but
And purrs and meows and chirps and shit.
that's why I don't eat dogs and cats.
Fair.
But you do eat fish, and fish also communicate with each other.
I do eat fish. They don't communicate with me though.
Exactly, my point. Now, what I find weird about the Pokemon universe, and granted, this was something pointed out in like a fanfic.
Ugh,
You'll notice how like they'll have Pokemon be called, oh, the puppy Pokemon, or the cat Pokemon, or the brave bird Pokemon.
yeah.
They don't have dogs and cats. They have Arcanines and Skitties. So when something's described as the dog Pokemon, what do they mean by that?
I mean,
Hmm.
that's also a similar question with Avatar: The Last Airbender when they have like the
Air
fucking
buffalo.
turtle duck.
Yeah, stuff like that. Is there
Like
non-air
they don't have a
buffaloes?
turtle, they don't have a duck. They do have a turtle duck, which I can see why they would call it that, but that would
Yeah,
also suggest that they know what the originals were to identify the amalgamation.
Well,
maybe
they do
no. It
have
could just be the
Bosco the
name.
bear.
Oh
The
yeah.
what?
Bosco the bear. He's just a normal bear, and the characters were really confused about him being a normal bear. But maybe there are animals that are that aren't. And oh yeah, this one healer just had a regular cat. There was
Oh
nothing special
yeah.
about it. It was just a cat.
Maybe
So
they
maybe,
evolved.
yeah, maybe there are animals out there that are just like the original composites that aren't combined with anything. They're just super rare in the Avatar universe.
They're endangered in the Avatar universe.
How come we
I can
used to
see
have?
why.
How come we used to have things called dire wolves and now we just have wolves? Huh?
Because you were in dire straits when you saw a dire wolf.
Yeah.
Forbidden pupper.
Forbidden. I mean, actually,
Forbidden pupper.
the reason for that is because we named wolves before we named dire wolves.
But then why do we call Granbull the dog Pokemon? They don't have dogs.
I'm wondering if like there used to be. You know what I mean? Like I know that a part of the lore thing they talk about is that humans and Pokemon used to be similar. So
Used to
maybe
be
they
the
were
same.
regular. Yeah, maybe there used to be regular animals at that time.
Maybe, but it's Arceus created all the Pokemon and by that extent humans in the universe.
I still think Arceus is bullshit because you can catch his ass. So like that makes no
Are
sense
you saying God
whatsoever.
wouldn't want to have a little fun with sometimes? You're saying God wouldn't see a 10-year-old with like a determination and a glint in his eye with a flimsy little Pokeball and be like, you know what? Yeah, sure, kid, you caught me. Let's go
Yeah,
get some ice cream.
I don't believe in the cult of Arceus. I think it's bullshit, and that's my
I think
thing.
you're bullshit.
That's my oddity. I don't understand that. Like, why do they keep on like they keep on like um introducing like the origin of Pokemon continuously? Like, how many origins of Pokemon are there?
Pokemon, the world of Pokemon has many wonders and mysteries,
No,
including where the hell did they all come from? Because we
I
got so many.
personally I believe in the flying spaghetti Pokemon. So
Nah, that was just a prank by Mew. Come on, man.
it's right by you.
See, what I find bullshit is that Ash met God, and his reaction was to call God basically a whiny baby for throwing a temper tantrum, and to never question that, never ever question that experience.
But that sounds like something Ash would do.
I mean, was the god being a whiny baby?
He was being a whiny baby. Essentially, he had a best
Case
friend like
closed.
400 years ago, and the friend got mind controlled by an Alakazam or something to betray Arceus. And Arceus was super pissed off and then was teleported 400 years into the future where he met Ash and was like, you know what? All humans are bastards. I'm killing them all.
I mean, I'm
See,
inclined to agree with him there.
Bitch! His friend was mind controlled, you asshole.
Okay.
yeah, and that's yeah. So he should blame all humans. That happens a lot in anime. That's actually something I want to bring up in a lot of anime. They'll have someone who's like, "Oh, a human came and killed my friend. All humans must be bad, but not all elves are bad." And then and people are like, "Oh, I get what you mean." It's like, no.
So basically, there's a lot of speciesism
Yeah,
in
there
a
is a
lot
lot of
of
speciesism.
anime.
They're like, they're
They would
like,
not make very good Jedi. They deal too much in absolutes.
exactly,
I do love that whole Jedi don't deal in absolutes because that itself is an
absolutely.
absolute.
That is
It
one of
is.
that. It is. That is one of my. That's one of my favorite things about Star Trek. Star Trek, Star Wars.
You bastard!
That's one of
They're
my
the
favorite
same
things.
universe.
Star Trek does the same thing where they're like, oh, we live in a world where everyone works together. It's bullshit. That is not true whatsoever. They do not
There was
work
this one.
together in the Federation.
There was at one point in Star Trek: The Next Gen where they invited Mark Twain aboard the Enterprise due to
Oh
like time
yeah,
shenanigans. Twain kept like looking for inequality, and he supposedly couldn't find it because
that's
like Troy
bullshit.
would always explain it away, saying, "No, no, no, no. This is we're actually like doing this instead." And like all I'm thinking is, Troy, you are whitewashing the future. Come on.
Bro, they have ranks. Like you can't have equality when you have a hierarchy. That doesn't work that
No,
way.
that's the great thing
Yeah.
about equality. It's you can have some people more equal than others.
Yeah. That's what I never got either. It was such bullshit, you know what I mean?
I find one oddity. They were trying to do a feminism episode, right? I'm not going to
Of
blame them
course,
for not being good at it,
as were the
Yeah.
times.
but
It was a while ago.
as were the times.
Yeah.
What happened was they went to a planet where the gender roles were reversed, and like Riker
Mm.
got kidnapped, and he was a damsel in distress because he was a guy. But like all the women obviously acted like the stereotypical toxic patriarchy you would expect on Earth, the stuff that that the episode was trying to say was bad, right?
Yeah.
But also these women were strong and independent for acting the exact same way.
Okay, that's a little.
And also,
I can see why that
why
would be.
does this planet, who's never had access to Earth before, have the exact same social values?
I mean that happens a lot in that happens a lot in Star Trek. I think where it's like they'll go to a
Yeah.
planet and like they'll meet an alien that has exactly the same like like joke structure and everything as humans do. And it's just like, okay.
I feel like the best version of that was like the one where Picard went to the planet where they spoke only in memes.
Yeah, I
They
like that
spoke
one.
only in memes.
They did actually. Yeah, in legitimate,
Dharma,
yeah.
his
And
arms
Tanagra,
outstretched.
yeah. My favorite. I don't know why this is. I love this is so this goes so much, but I love the what's the fucking there's like a meme. It's like Picard with my pants undone or something like that. No one.
Apollo, his dodgeball raised.
No, you would have liked it, James. Basically, he like they couldn't like they translated these guys' languages, but they still couldn't communicate with them because they would just say random shit, and it turns out everything they did in simile. Meme. They did meme. So when he went Dharma and Tanagra, he meant like you remember that story about two people who worked together to fight for a certain cause, and literally all that he meant, just those two. The whole
Every
thing's Dharma and Tanagra. All that meant just these two people working. He wanted them to work together towards a certain cause.
Yeah, every sentence they had referenced one of their old stories. They could not form a sentence without referencing a story, essentially.
So like how I can't make a joke on this podcast without referencing Distractable.
That's right. That's
Exactly.
exactly how it is. But it's even worse because it wouldn't even be like you.
Wait, his
They didn't
age
even. They
pondered.
don't even. They don't. It's not an. They would not use an analogy. They would only use simile. So they would all. So they would. It was like you literally going like Bob and Wade laughing at Mark or something. Just like it's like, it's like exactly this. And we're like, that's
Bob,
right, James.
Bob and Mark, the dorm beds crashing.
Oh,
Wade,
so you
his
do
head.
listen.
Wade, his head very shiny, or something like that. It's just like one of those things where it's like that's why it's such a bullshit episode. That was
It
that's what I'm
was so
saying. It's just
fun
like
though.
that's what I'm saying. Like that's my thing about the Star Trek universe. It has such a weird bullshit like that. I gotta say that was the most unique one though. Like of people
Yeah,
that
that
they
was
met.
super unique. I really like that one.
Yeah, because it's like it made no sense how it could possibly be true because you'd have I don't know how you read the books, right? Like
Oh yeah,
You
because
just have
everything
enough
would be
conversations with
referencing this.
people and you can piece it together.
You could
yeah,
piece it together eventually, but you wouldn't know the references.
and it makes no sense because later in the episode they make a new one. They go like Picard and Captain work together, and it's like what the fuck? How did they make a new
Yeah,
one?
it's
Does anyone
Picard and
understand?
whatever his name on planet blah blah blah.
Yeah, like how did they
And
like?
that was I guess to mean unlikely friendships forming or something, or
But then
new
like if
alliances
someone,
with strangers.
but then like it'll be even confusing because then some kid will go like will go like Ezekiel, his head confused, and he'll go Dharma to Dharma.
Dog, his head tilted.
Yeah, it's like it's like it'll become a continuously backwards until
Oh, woman looking at math.
woman looking at
That is backwards.
what the fuck.
Yeah, the meme of the woman like looking around at all the calculations.
Oh,
That means confused.
oh yeah, you're right.
See, now in the original Star Trek, like the reason they often went to a planet that was Rome or a planet that was mafia themed was because they were given like old sets. Like they didn't have
Yeah,
much of a budget, so they just used whatever they could. But New Generation had a budget.
they were owned by Desilu, the people who made I Love Lucy.
Really?
She was actually the one who signed off on it. She thought it was a western.
Well, it was
Yeah.
arrested in some episodes.
Exactly. Yeah.
What genre are you? Depends. Which episode?
All right, so we're still on topic. The topic is
Oddities and IPs, because I have
yeah,
thoughts.
oddity IPs. Oh, you do?
Yes, I've had an hour to think about it.
Okay. What you got?
All right, going back to Pokemon for a bit.
Yeah.
There's this common story about this kid who like was really sad that Lapras was endangered, so he bred a whole bunch of
Oh,
them and released
yeah.
them in the wild. Yeah, and I think in the Alola games, they made it so that Lapras was no longer in danger due to conservation efforts, as,
Yeah,
thank you to
yeah,
the kid.
yeah.
It's a very sweet story until you stop to think about it for a second. Because that would imply that our actions as players have an effect on the Pokemon world.
Ah.
Yeah, how much do we influence what happens in Pokemon? How much do we change?
Gotta kill
I'm.
them all. Pokemon.
Fuck you.
I mean, some of them, like in some of the games, you affect quite a bit. I mean, to be fair, even in the original ones, you stop like a fucking terrorist organization. You know,
Yeah, but
so
that's
it's
like the
like
player character. I'm talking about the players themselves. Like our world
ah.
affects the Pokemon world.
I mean, what about
But
like on the
where does the influence start and where does it end?
what about all the Nuzlocke people? Like, have they killed all their
Right?
Pokemon? Is there just corpses
Have
of
they killed
Pokemon
all their
everywhere?
Pokemon?
I don't know.
Does
That's a
the
good
Pokemon
question.
world influence ours? Did
Do
some
people?
trainer in Kanto decide that, oh, I bet it would be kind of funny if there was a plague somewhere? Oh no, damn it,
Oh,
I should come up with a different
uh,
example. Did some
po-
trainer in Kanto think it
Pokvid
would be.
Pokvid 19.
Damn it, I'm trying to do a different one.
Okay, okay. Let's hear it.
Did some trainer in Kanto think it would be like funny to have like I don't know, natural disaster of some kind, like a flood in California after a few years of drought? And that's why we got so much rain now? Did they
What
do
you
rain
mean?
dance and that's
You
what
mean
happened?
they affect us in the real life?
If we can
That's what
affect
she was
them, why
trying to
not?
do about.
I don't know about this one. This is kind of creepy.
I don't know. It sounds kind of like the whole idea of like running a simulation, and because we can affect the simulation, clearly they have access to the same source code. It just doesn't exactly work that way.
Do Marie dream
No,
about
but it's
electric sheep?
fun that way, Killjoy. What?
Do Marie dream about electric sheep?
Maybe
Counting
that's where
Murray.
they got puppy Pokemon from. They dreamed about it. They don't know what a dog is, but they remember it. A vague shape in their dream. Anyone got any other oddities?
I got a lot. I just can't think right now.
Alright, in that case, I'd like to move on to Fairy Odd Parents.
Okay. What is?
Okay, so there's a lot of oddities in that one.
Oh yeah,
The one I'm going to focus on first.
fairly oddities.
Yeah, they're fairly oddities. The one I'd like to focus on first, there are fairies and there are anti fairies, right?
Yeah,
There
the
are
pixies.
genies, there are pixies. No, the pixies are not anti fairies.
Oh,
There are
They're
genies,
separate
there are
entities.
pixies, there are leprechauns. There are no anti pixies, there are no anti genies, there are no anti leprechauns. Why are there only anti fairies?
there's no anti-humans either. I guess it's just other humans, isn't it?
Demons.
Okay, okay. Are there demons?
No, but there should be.
Oh, God. What is the lore behind the anti-fairies?
The lore behind the anti fairies, which is another oddity, but from a different angle. The lore behind the anti fairies is that they are a fairy's exact opposite, and their job is to bring misfortune to the world.
Oh, I remember that one. Yeah, yeah. I remember like the Cosmo one is absolutely horrible at his job too. Wasn't that something like that?
Despite being super intelligent,
I can't
which
remember.
implies that
Yeah,
Cosmo is actually very great at his job as a fairy odd parent, which is pretty sweet.
I
That's
just
just a sweet thing.
I just remember Cosmo was so fucked up. Like, do we ever like talk about that? Because like that's my thing about it is like Cosmo was really fucked up. Like the things he said were so the things he and like Timmy's
Yeah.
dad said were so bad. Like the one where Timmy becomes a girl and he goes like
No
what
one
is he
cares
like?
what you
No one
think. You're
cares.
a
Think you're a
girl.
girl. And he like said, I can't believe That
So
was
the
in the
thing, there is
show.
kind of an explanation behind Cosmo in that Wanda cheated on Cosmo's test so that he could become a fairy godparent, and even then,
Oh,
Cosmo's not allowed to be assigned by himself. He has to be assigned with Wanda.
oh, okay, that makes sense.
So that one has an explanation.
God, like,
But like,
also another thing, like that big ass like Schwarzenegger fairy dude, like,
yeah, Jorgen.
was he ever like assigned to a kid? Like, can you imagine him
No, his
go?
job's not his job is not to be assigned to a kid. His job is to train others to be assigned to kids.
So he trains others without having been assigned to a kid.
He might have been
Yeah,
assigned to a
much like
kid when
how a
he
lot of
was
things work here.
he might have been assigned to a kid in his younger years, but now he's like head honcho, leader of the army. Which they organize themselves like a military,
Yeah,
by the
they are
way.
very militarized and like they can like they like erase people's memory. They have such a weird like like totalitarian system for like fairydom. It's always weird to me, and
Yeah,
they
there's
play with the
that.
cosmos. Like it's such a weird system. Like they have so
So
many
what's
arbitrary
weirder to me?
rules.
Oh, they have a lot of arbitrary rules. To be fair, we did see Timmy create a few rules that seem arbitrary if you haven't watched the episode.
It's true.
Like,
So I assume that every rule that there's like a reason behind it. Some kid did something stupid, and that's why there's a rule behind it now.
wasn't there a rule no raising the dead?
So no, because Cosmo and Wanda did that.
I know, that's what
That
I was
doesn't
about
mean
to
it's
point out.
that doesn't mean it's not a rule. Or do
Yes,
they
it
just
is. Their
yeah.
wands won't work if it's a rule.
Oh, you're right. It goes. Oh yeah, they go. And they're like, yeah, they go over like that.
So that's not a rule. It might be a rule now, but it was not a rule for a
I
bit.
can't believe raising the dead isn't a rule. That's such a weird thing not to.
I mean, wasn't there that thing of no wishing that people would stop aging
Oh yeah, yeah.
explicitly because of Timmy?
No. Well, maybe I didn't watch that episode because I thought it was stupid.
I mean, most of the more recent episodes are stupid.
Like, I mean, the most recent episodes are like Drake Bell when he's like fucking 13. When he's supposed to be like 13 or something, but but he's like 22.
Yeah, we're ignoring the live action. The live action is a whole can of worms. It basically shouldn't be canon. What I want to point out is okay, so the anti fairies have a job, right? They don't just exist to be antagonists, they have a real life job that they are supposed to provide to the earth. They are a force of nature, in essence. But fairies, their job isn't the antithesis of the anti fairies' job. They are not their jobs are not the opposite of the anti fairies. And they also don't provide like okay, so they provide a service to humans specifically, but they don't actually do anything for the earth itself, whereas the anti fairies do. So my question is, did the anti fairies come first?
I thought it was like a balance thing, like a cosmic
But the fairies
balance.
aren't providing balance, is the problem.
No,
Because
just
if
by
anti fairies
existing.
but if anti fairies cause bad luck, like it's their job to create bad luck, not just by existing, but like to actively go out and seek it, you'd think that a fairy's job would be to create good luck. But it's not. A fairy's job is to be assigned to a child that who is sad. And
Maybe
that is
cos
decided by Jorgen.
maybe cosmically they're meant to do good luck, but then their totalitarian fucking government decided that they would be stuck with kids, and they have no other choice, and they've abandoned the original natural mission, and the real only natural fairies are the anti fairies.
See, my thinking was like the anti fairies came first. Somebody created a fairy out of that somehow, and then they just created a totalitarian regime because they hadn't existed before. They didn't know what to do. And that totalitarian regime decided, you know what, if the anti fairies are bad and we're supposed to be good, I mean, I guess raising kids is good, right? That's something nice to do.
I disagree.
I disagree.
I disagree with your faces. also then that does also beg the question: what cosmically is a pixie's job?
To be a dick.
Pretty much.
Say I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I can't.
Exactly. That's the happy medium. You got your meat, you got your bad, you got your good, and you got your dicks.
There are three kinds of people in this world.
Fairies, pixies, and anti-fairies.
That's right. They're just different flavors of asshole in the end.
I didn't know assholes had multiple flavors.
Well, then you're not a real zoomer, are you?
Yeah, boy. Moving away from sex for a second.
I'm not saying anything much about origin. I'm just saying that they reside in Pixie World and their ultimate goal is to take over the world.
Their
Yeah, the
ultimate goal
dicks.
is to take over Fairy World specifically.
Mm-hmm.
The dicks.
They are
I
dicks.
mean, yes, they are. But that's separate from their goal.
I wonder if the pixies were created because an anti-fairy got a hold of a genie. Because, like, genies, unlike all the other magical creatures, like, even anti-fairies have rules. Pixies definitely have rules. Fairies have rules. Genies are the only ones that don't have rules.
Really? I thought they had. I don't know if they have like cosmic rules, but I thought that they had like things they wouldn't do.
No, no, and Norm explained it himself. They say that they don't have rules. They say that they have rules because they don't want humans, like, to deal with them. They don't want humans to keep them, essentially, because, like, their only thing is they can't leave the lamp. That's not a rule, that's a limitation.
I think that was
Gotcha.
actually how. I think that was how it was in Aladdin too. Like his rules were his own rules. He didn't actually have limitations. Like especially if you
Are we
listen
sure
to
about
what.
that?
Well, like okay, maybe the dead thing, or not the dead thing. The love thing, definitely will not. But when it came for the dead one, he actually just says he doesn't like to do it. Like
Okay, so
he
to
says
be
it
fair, the dead one,
directly.
he says he doesn't like to do it.
And he's like, it's not a pretty picture. I don't like doing it. You know.
Okay, but, like, Norm very specifically told Crocker how to wish in order to break the rules that genies pretend to have when he wanted to
Yeah.
kill Timmy Turner.
Like yeah,
So, like,
like
genies don't actually have rules in the
yeah.
Fairy Odd Parents universe.
Because like if a genie tells you they can't kill someone, what if he says, what if you say, can you create can you create a piano 20 feet over this specific area, and then the person you hate is like exactly 100, and they go sure thing, and then you crunch.
Yeah, the thing is, that is kind of funny because, like, that whole episode was Mr. Crocker coming up with, like, the weird, random, not going to work traps. What Norm just said: if you just wish he was dead, I could kill him. Like, if you wish he was on Mars and you didn't wish for a spacesuit or anything, he would die. It would be done. Why are you doing this?
Wait, so he literally just wanted to kill him?
Yeah, Norm just hated Timmy.
That was in the episode. Oh, you're right. No, oh, I remember. No, I'm right.
Norm just wanted to kill Timmy. Mr. Crocker maybe wanted to kill Timmy, but he wanted to humiliate him first. And that was Mr. Crocker's downfall.
That was such a mean series.
Yeah, remember that one episode where, like, Timmy wishes he wasn't born because, like, no one was appreciating him? And so
I mean, same.
and so Jorgen created this entire reality to show how everyone's lives would be better off without him.
Yeah. I just remember he goes,
And, like, the point of that story was supposed to be, you know what, fuck everyone else. If you're enjoying life, you should continue to enjoy life. You shouldn't try to, like, measure yourself by how helpful you are to others. So, like, when Timmy fought back against, being murdered at the end because he was like, you know what, I don't want to die anyways, that was supposed to be the good lesson.
I don't know why
But,
Timmy
like,
tried sometimes. Like it made sense why he had Fairy Otters for so long, because like everyone was really mean to him except for like Trudy.
yeah,
Like
no, Timmy's life sucked. There's a
okay,
reason
like
he got them in the first place. He
what was
was
the
the
thing?
most miserable kid on the planet.
What was the thing his dad
And
said?
he tried to, every time he tried to be nice, it blew up in his face.
I remember like he was trying to be cool, and his dad's like, "What are all these cool kids doing here? My son isn't cool at all." or something.
Yeah, his parents were neglectful at best. But like, oh, there was this one episode. Okay, so you know how they got mad at Timmy for wishing Poof into existence because they had previously forbade fairies from having babies because of overpopulation?
Is that what happened?
Yeah, Cosmo and Wanda were super bummed because they couldn't have a kid because fairies weren't allowed to have kids because of
Oh,
overpopulation. So Timmy said, I wish you guys could have a baby.
didn't like
That's
Cosmo
what
have
happened.
poof?
Yes, Cosmo had Poof.
Okay, yeah.
But the thing is, like a few seasons later, things started going downhill. They introduced this new character, Chloe.
Wait, if they can't have children, how did Cosmo come into being?
Cosmo, presumably,
Cosmo
Cosmo was
was
the last baby. He was he
Oh,
is the
okay.
youngest.
All
He
right.
was the youngest fairy in existence until Poof was born.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah, so Cosmo and Wanda around the same age, but they were some of the last kids ever born.
I have a big gap because, like, I
wasn't there
remember
like
I watched it when I
uh
was younger, and then I didn't watch it again until I was older, and suddenly they had a kid, and I was like, "What?" That was-
Well, the dog is worse because like I love the dog, but they got rid of the dog, but without telling you how or why.
There was a dog?
Oh yeah, see the thing is real sad about Sparky. He was a fairy dog who kept getting brought back to the pound because people kept hating him because he kept like making accidents and stuff.
Uh,
And Timmy promised he would never ever get rid of Sparky and he'd have Sparky forever and he'd always love Sparky. About a season or two later, you never see Sparky again.
I guess he broke his promise.
Timmy's like, I'll never get rid of you, and then the dog's like, please let me fucking leave. You are
Okay,
an absolute
I'm
nightmare.
I'm gonna make a very blanket statement, but I hate when that happens in series. I'm watching this British cop series. I all finished. It's done now. I watched them all.
A dangerous
But
pastime.
every single series, it always seems like they're gonna have a character in there who's gonna last, and the next series they're just gone, and they never
Yeah, it's
mention it.
so bad.
And
It's
it's like,
so
what
bad.
happened? Like one of them was like, he's this girl like became his like daughter, his pseudo daughter, and then she's just never in. He like buys her an ice cream, and she finally has a good life, and then the next one, she's just gone, and no one ever talks about her again.
She had a good but short life.
Yes, like what happened to her? The entire season was about her, and then she was just gone. It's like what?
Yeah, that's just that is just a symptom of bad writing. But the reason I brought up Poof is because Chloe, right? She was introduced to try to drum up more interest in the show, and she was going to have to share fairies with Timmy because they didn't have enough fairies to give to children around the world.
Fuck.
Too many
Yeah,
miserable
even though
children.
it
That
Yeah.
was
checks out.
previously established that the fairy population was overpopulated, apparently they were underpopulated. Especially considering their entire economy is geared around providing fairy godparents to human children.
Yeah, you'd think they'd have some way of doing it.
Right? You'd think that, or at the very least, once they realized, oh, these projections were going to run out of fairies soon, you know what? We should let people have babies again.
The economics behind the fairy totalitarian society is very confusing.
Yeah, at the very least, so that Poof could have some playmates. Oh, there was one episode where Poof learned how to talk, and then like 3 episodes later, he went back to saying poof poof. I want to know the reasoning behind that one.
I think
I want to know the
because
in-universe
the
explanation for that
fucking
one because
movie
they never
ruined the idea.
addressed it.
The movie ruined it.
Yeah.
Which movie? A lot of
Have you
movies
heard
ruined it.
Poof talk in the live action movie?
No, does Poof talk in the live action movie?
Yeah.
I didn't see the live action movie because, like, to be honest, it was kind of it was really boring. The only thing I remember about them
Oh
is
yeah, the
that
movie was an
Brenda's
absolute
song
train
was
wreck.
very attractive, but
Yeah.
that was about it.
Checks out.
Did we? Are we? Did we run
Yeah,
that?
do we have anything else?
I had something, but we were on the Fairly Odd Parents tangent for so long that I forgot it.
Did you?
Motherfucker.
Do you remember what the IP was?
What does IP even mean in this?
Like what
Intellectual property.
series?
Yeah.
Oh,
Do you remember what series it was?
no, I do not.
Oh my god, it says
Oh,
completely
right,
God
gone.
Phineas
damn
and
it.
Ferb.
Oh, finish the
Phineas and
Ferb.
Ferb!
104
I know.
days of summer vacation, and what was it?
That school comes
182
along just to
episodes.
end it. Yeah, so Dr. Doofenshmirtz did comment on that. They had a meta commentary like, "Wow, this is the longest summer. It feels like 5 years."
Yeah.
Could it be like? Could it be like? I know that a lot. Like it's what was it? What was it? Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls was one summer too, wasn't it?
Gravity Falls was one summer.
You said that so defensively. It was one summer. What are you
It
talking
was
about?
one
No,
summer.
like as a confirmation, I was confirming.
Please?
Yes, you are correct.
I think that was the whole reason they. But that was the confusing too. Didn't they have like 2 Halloween Miss episodes? Am I
No,
wrong?
they only had one Halloween.
They only had one.
Mhm.
Okay.
Summerween.
Summerween. That's what it was. Halloween. What's Halloween Miss? Where did I take that from?
Phineas and Ferb, possibly.
Halloween. I don't know. Where did I get that from? It's apparently a thing. It's
the
Halloween and
oddities of real
Christmas.
life.
Yeah. Okay, we've done like 2 IPs deep, and then like little IPs. We need to do at least a third one to even it out. A full real one.
Okay. BBC's Merlin.
What, the
Oh,
original
yeah.
one or the new one?
What do you mean?
I
new
don't know.
one?
There was a new one.
There was there was one in like 95. You're not talking about that one, are you?
No. We're
Oh,
talking.
I'm
We're talking
assuming
about
the
the
new one.
2000s
Oh,
one.
okay, so
The
you're talking about
2008 or whatever it was.
okay, the other one. All right, the prequel. I guess it wasn't a
Yeah.
prequel.
Yeah, the one
I
with
guess it
the one
wasn't a
where Merlin was a
prequel.
kid.
I guess it was a prequel because he was a kid in the first one too. But
What? Okay, the one where he's a kid and magic's illegal and he's hiding it from Arthur and everything. Does that narrow it down?
oh my god.
Okay, anyways.
Yeah, sure. I didn't see that one
Sorry.
either. Yeah, I didn't see the new one.
Anyways, in that show, a lot of weight is put onto prophecies. Like a lot of weight. There's no character that ever truly believes that prophecies can ever be averted. All the magical creatures that Merlin often goes to for advice or magical counsels all say that prophecies cannot be averted. There's no way to ever stop a prophecy. Every prophecy made in the show comes true one way or another, except for the very first prophecy we hear in the very first episode. Want to know what that prophecy was?
What was it?
That Arthur will one day unite Albion and bring a era of peace for everyone, including magic users, and he'll know about your magic, and you'll all have a happy ending. Guess what actually happens?
What?
Arthur dies. He hates Merlin's magic until about like 2 minutes before he dies, at which point he figures, well, I'm dying. I guess I don't want to stay mad at my best friend.
That was the series?
Yeah, that's how it ended.
What the
And
hell?
like, it would be one thing if like the dragon were portrayed as being wrong for saying this prophecy, right? If like he was portrayed as being cruel for saying that he should turn against Morgana before she turns against them, and that if Merlin was nice, that would have fixed everything. Or if the dragon were just wrong in some instances instead of always being right.
Her name was
But
Morgana?
because dragon was always right, except for that one
Yeah, they
little
wanted to make a
tidbit.
female version of Morgan.
Morgan was female.
Morgan Le Fay was female.
I don't know if they read the books. I think they heard the name Morgan and they were like, yeah, let's go Morgana.
Okay, apparently it is actually an alternate name for her. Yeah.
Yeah, Morgana's an alternate name for Morgan Le Fay. It's okay. So essentially, like the entire show was geared towards showing you that prophecies cannot be averted. There's nothing you could do to change prophecies.
Except for that
Except
prophecy.
for the one prophecy that was Merlin's entire motivation throughout all 5 seasons. Like, I
They
get
always,
they wanted to do a tragedy. The tale always ends tragically with Mordred killing Arthur. Yeah, that makes sense. They could have had, like, a season before the tragedy, though, so that at the very least it made more sense. So that that first prophecy wasn't not true. Or they could have just did a thing where prophecies don't always come true. That sometimes they're just bogus. That would have been fine. That would have made everything fine. But like the fact that prophecies were treated as inevitable, except for that very first one.
I think that was basically what Game of Thrones is about. Was that they had this huge prophecy. They didn't do it so much in the series, but that was like the whole point is that they had all these prophecies that people, but there were so many interpretations of it how it could be true that really it didn't really matter in the end.
But the problem with the Merlin prophecy was everyone, the dragon, the druids, every other magic user that had ever heard of Emrys, all interpreted it as Arthur would bring about peace to Albion and unite all magic users and non-magic users alike, and everything would be hunky-dory. Everyone had the same interpretation. The only interpretation was when it would happen. That was the only dispute. Yes, I'm kind of mad about that one.
Yeah, I can tell you got strong feelings
After
about
all
that one.
these years. Dead Slayer, you got any shows that you watch and then think about afterwards?
Not particularly. Most of the time, they're not really to be read too far into these days.
Really?
Like Psyche K, that's
Well,
purely
Fairy Odd
about the
Parents is a
comedy
big.
and not making full sense.
I like how you say
Well,
like these days, but Saki K was 10 years ago.
and also,
I
like, a lot
watched
of
it
the
recently.
point isn't whether you're supposed to read into
Yeah.
it too much or not. We are reading too much into it to create for funds. You're not supposed to read into Fairy Odd Parents or Pokemon too hard.
True.
I feel like Japanese series they want you to think about some things. Like I feel like a lot of the time they try to be really deep but really they're shallow. Like, they have a lot of characters that are like they're like, oh, you don't know how the world works, kid, and stuff like that. Like completely mess it up like that.
Oh, Dead Slayer. Okay, so we talked about this when we were like 16, 17 in high school while we were waiting for mom to pick us up. It was about Danny Phantom.
You mean like I'm
Which
still
part of
amazed,
Danny
I'm
Phantom?
still turned that I found out that they're not actually dead, like officially.
That's what we were talking about. Because
That
we were
always
talking about,
gets me.
okay, if they're not dead, what are they?
Yeah. Like, I don't understand. Is it because it's a kids show that they can't actually be dead? Is that why?
Yeah,
Pretty much, yeah.
that's our universe explanation. But in universe, I think the conclusion we came to was they're actually deities.
What's Ember a deity of? Rock?
Rock and roll,
What the
baby.
hell?
Devotion. If we want to get
He's
more
the
specific
deity
with
of
it.
all the music that never makes it to the top
Wait.
records.
But like not okay, so when we say deities, we don't necessarily we mean like something that gets believed in so much that it becomes real. If
Oh,
Cindy Poindexter,
Tulpa.
I
yeah,
get you.
sort of
Yeah,
like a
okay, okay. Oh,
tulpa,
I
but
get you. Okay, that makes sense.
yeah, so like Cindy Poindexter, right? He supposedly died in Casper High and then
The
became a ghost,
Walker.
except not really because none of the ghosts are dead, so therefore he couldn't have died. But he is
He might have
really
died,
he might have died. But the thing
but he
is,
didn't.
we first hear about him from a rumor, from a urban legend that goes around the school that all the students believe in. That
I can
Cindy
see that.
Poindexter A existed, and B he was shoved in a locker, and C he now haunts that locker.
So then Ember was someone who did die, but not but only because people believe she died and started
No,
talking
my
about
thing is like that
it.
Ember is not the Ember who died. That Ember is the belief of the people who knew the Ember who died that she was somewhere out there.
Now that I can believe.
So
That
you're
makes a lot
saying
of sense.
Elvis Presley is absolutely alive in the ghost world?
Yeah, Elvis Presley is in the
He went back to
ghost
his
world
home
because
planet.
so many people were. Yeah,
Everyone knows Elvis isn't dead.
but like undergrowth, he's a whole plant thing. Like he's not a ghost of anything except a bunch of plants, right? He's
Undergrowth
basically
sounds like a Manscaped ad.
it really does. But
Do
like
you?
undergrowth's whole thing is that he's made of plants and he wants humans to die so that plants can rule the world. He is basically a god of plants.
So he's basically Poison Ivy.
He's basically
Yes,
poison ivy.
but not as sexy.
Well, not with
No, he
that
made the
attitude.
character sexy for him.
All right.
Then you get Pandora, right? She's kind of far removed from the Greek myth, but everyone knows the story of Pandora.
Ah.
Bold of
And
you to
now she's
assume
a
I know
ghost.
anything.
Bold of you to be here.
Bold
If you want to do one more, I got something for a show called Pen Zero, which I know none of you know.
No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, the idea is basically this kid gets zapped. Whenever the hero is about to fail in one dimension, this kid, who is a quote part time hero, gets zapped into their body to basically fill in for them.
Okay.
It's a cute show.
Huh.
Highly recommend. The thing I would have pointed out was partially they are very inconsistent on which traits get transferred over from Penn, the main character, to whatever hero he's possessing. And
Mm.
also, his motivation for being a hero in the first place was because his parents got trapped in the most dangerous dimension to ever exist by the part-time villain, right?
Hmm.
Part-time villain. I like that.
I like that too.
Yeah.
Isn't
I'm
that
a
kind of
villain
Moriarty
sometimes.
in the Cumberbatch version of Sherlock? Isn't he kind of like a part-time villain? He just kind of shows up and gives advice.
No, he's a villain for hire. He's a freelance villain.
Gotcha.
Part-time villain would be like Wile E. Coyote whenever he's with that sheepdog.
Sheepdog.
That's not Wile E. Coyote. That's
Oh.
the Chester Wolf, was it? Something
Oh,
like that.
Chester Wolf. My bad.
The only difference is that the wolf has a red nose. He's literally the same guy. What's his name? Is it Chester Wolf?
I know. Anyway, the one I was going to mention was the very first episode is the Christmas special. Bold choice, but I like it. Where Penn's missing his parents for the holidays. Makes sense. The problem is, we flashback to the very first day that, the last day he saw his parents, his very first zap into another universe, and, when he met the part-time villain. This all happened on his first day at school. So his parents must have been missing for, 3 months tops, which, is still very bad. But the way that everybody been talking about his parents were they've been gone for years.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's
remember
Time
him
has
like
been
it was
passing.
only 2.5 months ago. It was
Yeah.
2.5 months ago.
You've been
Pretty
gone
much, exactly.
forever, but it's only been 2 months.
His dad once got super mad because his uncle was trying to teach Penn how to shave, despite Penn saying, trying to push his uncle off because he doesn't even have facial hair yet. So
Oh, not with that attitude.
and the mom got mad because the aunt that was looking after him wanted to do some other milestone. These his aunt and uncle were just pushing milestones onto him for no reason. They've been gone for 2 months at that point.
I can relate.
Oh, Ralph Wolf, right.
But he looks
Meow Wolf?
exactly the same. He just has a red nose instead of a black nose, yeah. I remember Ralph Wolf too was really funny because I think it was Ralph Wolf, but I think he's very well spoken. So I remember him going up to I don't know what, but him going "Hello, I am a wolf and I am here to hunt you, so I will eat you. So just to say that you will of course run and I will hunt you down." I remember him saying
No, I'm
something
pretty
like
sure
that.
that was the coyote.
Was that Wile E.
If you're talking
Coyote?
about Bugs Bunny.
It could have been
Yeah,
Wile E.
I'm the
Coyote.
coyote.
Yeah. It could be. You're right. Then it probably was Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, Ralph has
yeah,
a
'cause he's
job. Wile E. Coyote can't.
I remember Wile E. Coyote had something that said he was a super genius or something, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. It was Wile E. Coyote. It's just funny because it's so weird him with Bugs Bunny because he acts so differently compared to when he's against the Roadrunner. You know.
Well, the Roadrunner can't talk, so it would be rude if he did.
Well, that's all the time we have for this episode. Please comment down below if you have an idea for your own IP and what problems or oddities you have in it as well.
Please do.
Thanks
I
for.
love fridge logic.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, we will. This one might have been a little disjointed, but maybe we can come up with something later that's more concrete and make more episodes about that. I think that's definitely a
I would like to
possibility in the
revisit
future.
this.
Yeah. So please comment about that, subscribe, whatever you like to do, and we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.